Wyan and her sister were sitting on the couch watching TV on Netflix. They both had packets of Lay's in their hands and were lost in the show. Suddenly, their mom came out of her room and spoke. Yeah, do you do not have anything else to do besides watching Netflix and eating? She asked, looking a little angry. Daisy replied, why are you angry, Mom? We have already done all the house chores. Their mom calmed down a bit. Okay, then, I'm going to the market. Chonko called me and he's visiting for a few hours. Don't disturb him, okay? Wine and Daisy looked at each other with excitement. Jungkook's coming over. Wine whispered. They quickly cleaned up the living room. Soon the doorbell rang. Wine opened the door and there was Jungkook smiling. Hey girls, he said, coming inside. Jungkook came into the living room and they all sat down on the couch. Daisy stood up and said, okay, you guys sit here. I will bring some snacks. She then headed to the kitchen, leaving Jungkook and Wine alone. There was a bit of tension in the room. Jungkook shifted slightly towards Wine and tried to start a conversation. Wine, how are your studies going? He asked. He meant to say it in a calm tone, but ended up stammering a bit. Wine felt the nervousness in Jungkook's voice and gave him a reassuring smile. They're going well, thanks for asking. She replied softly. It's been a bit challenging, but I'm managing. Jungkook nodded, trying to ease the tension. That's good to hear. If you ever need help, just let me know. Just then, Daisy returned with a tray of snacks. Here we go, snacks for everyone, she announced, breaking the awkward silence. They all started munching on the snacks, and the conversation gradually became more relaxed. Daisy looked at the TV and noticed the movie had finished. So, what should we watch next? She asked. Chonko grinned mischievously. I think we should watch 50 Shades of Grey, he suggested. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise. The room went silent for a moment as they processed his unexpected suggestion. Daisy and Vine exchanged shocked glances, unsure how to respond. The movie had been playing for about 15 minutes and everyone was concentrating on it. Except for Jungkook, he found it hard to focus, feeling a bit awkward about his earlier suggestion. Suddenly, a phone started ringing, but everyone was so engrossed in the movie that they didn't notice at first. Jungkook broke the silence. Whose phone is ringing continuously? Daisy looked startled and quickly grabbed her phone. Oh, sorry, it's mine. She said, you both enjoy the movie. I might not come back because it's my best friend calling. And you know how besties talk. She giggled nervously and left the room, leaving Jungkook and Wine along again. The tension between them was increasing. Suddenly, a kiss scene appeared on the screen. Wine avoided looking at the TV, feeling embarrassed, and noticed that Jungkook was looking at her instead. I think we shouldn't watch this. Wine said, trying to break the awkwardness. Let's talk about something else. Jungkook quickly agreed, though he stammered a bit. Oh, yeah, you're right. Wine picked up the remote and switched off the TV. The silence hung in the air for a moment before Jungkook spoke. So tell me about yourself. Wine awkwardly laughed and said, you already know me. What do you want to know? Jungkook smiled, a playful glint in his eyes. I want to know what makes you smile, what you think about late at night, the little things that make you you. Wine felt her cheeks warm up. Well, I love to dance when no one's watching and sing in the shower. She said, giggling. And I think about a lot of things at night, like what I it did be like to travel the world. Jungkook leaned in a bit closer, his gaze intense. I bet you look adorable dancing around. Maybe you will show me sometime. He teased. Wine laughed softly, her heart fluttering. Maybe I will, if you are lucky. Jungkook grinned, his eyes twinkling. I guess I will have to find a way to get lucky then. But seriously, Wine, I have always thought you had the most beautiful smile. It lights up the room. Wine's blush brightened. Cook gently lifted her chin with his finger, his touch sending a shiver down her spine. I know so, he whispered, and I have been wanting to tell you for a long time. I can't stop thinking about you. Wine's breath catch in her throat. Jungkook, he leaned in, his face inches from her. You don't have to say anything. Just know that I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. Wine's heart raced as she felt his warmth so close. I'm glad you're here, she whispered, her eyes locking onto his. Jungkook's smile softened and he closed the distance between them, brushing his lips gently against hers. The kiss was tender, filled with unspoken feelings and a promise of more to come. Jungkook is a flirt who flirts with many girls. He's 22 years old and a senior at the same college where Wine, who is 20, studies. Wine is beautiful and smart. Although Jungkook is known as a playboy, he genuinely likes Wine a lot. Wine also likes him but is too scared to admit it. Jungkook often visits their home because he's classmates with Wine's sister, Daisy, and they hang out for fun. Jungkook suddenly kissed her again and then pulled away, leaving her breathless, his eyes intense with emotion. Wine, you're so beautiful, I love you, he confessed. Wine's eyes widened and she was speechless. Jungkook looked at her expectantly. Won't you give me a reply? He asked before sealing his lips with hers again. Wine could only respond with a muffled as both of them breathed heavily. The passion between them undeniable, Jungkook whispered. Let's go to your room. I can't control myself, sweetheart. Wine blushed even more as he picked up her in his arms and carried her to her room. He gently placed her on the bed and latched the door so no one could interrupt them. Jungkook climbed on top of her again and kissed her deeply. I love you, he murmured between kisses. I have loved you for a long time but was afraid to tell you. Would you accept me as yours? Wine looked into his eyes, her heart pounding. I love you too, she confessed. I have liked you for so long, but I couldn't confess because I thought you might be angry. Jungkook's eyes softened with relief and joy. Angry? How could I be angry at the woman I love? He whispered, brushing a strand of hair from her face. You mean everything to me, Wine? Wine's eyes welled up with tears of happiness. I have been so scared to lose you, Jungkook. She said, her voice trembling. Her tears away, you won't lose me. He promised, his lips lingering on her skin. I will always be here for you. Jungkook's hands gently roamed over her body. His touch tender and loving. You are mine, Wine. He whispered, and I'm yours. Wine wrapped her arms around him, pulling him closer. Yes, I'm yours, she replied, her voice filled with love and certainty. Jungkook smiled, his heart swelling with happiness. He held her tightly, knowing that this moment was just the beginning of their beautiful journey together. Jungkook's arms tightened around Wine, holding her close as they lay together on the bed. The room was filled with the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains, casting a gentle light over them. Wine, Jungkook said softly, I want to make sure you always feel this loved, this cherished. Every moment with you feels right. Wine looked up at him, her eyes reflecting the tenderness she felt. I never imagined this would happen, she admitted. But now that it has, I want to savor every second. Jungkook smiled and kissed her forehead. We have all the time in the world, he said, and he planned to make every moment count. Let's promise to always be honest with each other, to always support one another. Wine nodded, her heart swelling with affection. I promise, she said. And I will be here for you through everything. They continued to hold each other, their hearts beating in union. The world outside seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of them wrapped in each other's love. As they drifted into a comfortable silence, they both knew that this was the start of something fully special. Jungkook eventually spoke up, a playful smile on his face. So, what's our first adventure as a couple? Wine laughed softly, her eyes sparkling with excitement. How about we start with a dream we both have? Traveling the world together. Jungkook's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. That sounds perfect. We will make it happen, I promise. With that, they shared a final tender kiss before setting in for the night, their hearts filled with the warmth of newfound love and the promise of a bright future together.